A New York appeals court has agreed to reduce former US President Donald Trump's $454 million civil fraud case to $175 million. Now, Donald Trump has 10 days to pay the bond if he wants to avoid having his assets seized by authorities. Joining us is Professor Joseph Siracusa. Joe, great to see you. Can you talk to us about how the court has reached this decision?
Good morning. Well, the court found the $454 million bond excessive. Actually, it's probably unconstitutional. And so they decided to split the difference. They made it 175 million. Now, look, Trump could have written a check for the 454 million, or one of his golfing buddies could have written the check, but he didn't want to do that. He's also got $100 million in bond on some defamation cases, so he's got a lot of money tied up. But he's a billionaire; he can afford these kinds of things. The thing is, he wants to keep the court that has charged him. He wants to keep him on the back foot and keep the campaign running. So he'll come up with the 175 million. Now the deal is, if he hadn't had the money, if he couldn't arrange it, then Letitia James, the Attorney General, could start closing down on his properties and seizing his bank accounts and the rest of it. And then if he won the appeal, Gabriella, then he'd come back and he'd have to find a lock for the door of the Trump Tower, because she could have sold it by then. So she could have done terrible damage. She wanted to, as a matter of fact. So I would say that in this case, Donald Trump has actually got a break.
Donald Trump is reportedly turning to religion for cash by selling Bibles as Easter approaches. Donald Trump on Tuesday endorsed country singer Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA Bible on his Truth Social platform. Let's take a look.
I'm proud to be partnering with my very good friend Lee Greenwood. Who doesn't love his song, God Bless the USA, in connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents, yes, the Constitution, but also the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. And I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible now and help spread our Christian values with others.
Well, it's his favourite book, apparently. Joe, what do you make of it?
Oh, look, Gabriella, I've been around a long time. Biden's my 14th president. This is pretty cynical. Here we have a guy who's selling a patriotic Bible. And, of course, the Bible has no claim on any nationality or anything like that. And, he sold his baseball cards. That is, he sold these sort of like baseball cards. And, he's in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, to give you an idea. This guy's got a lot of guts about this kind of thing. He'll sell anything. And, of course, as P.T. Barnum once said over 100 years ago, you can always find a sucker to buy something. And I would buy it just for the souvenir value, because when Donald Trump's star has eclipsed, everything he was trying to sell or do will be very interesting for historians and for people who collect these kinds of things.
That's true. It could be a good investment. Let's look at relations between the USA and Israel. It appears that domestic political pressure has put a bit of a divide between Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu. Where do you see this going?
I don't want to mince words on this, Gabriella. U.S.-Israeli relations have broken down. What's happened the last week, the abstaining in the UN Security Council about this ceasefire is the end of the line. They have nothing further to talk about. And Netanyahu is going to do his own thing. He's going to initiate an offensive in Rafah. He's going to let the aid in when he feels like it, as a matter of fact, and that he doesn't believe in a two-state solution. And he frankly doesn't care what anybody says. And at the end of the day, this may not save Netanyahu's political career. This may not save any lives in the Gaza area. Might not even save Joe Biden's presidency. But of course, Israeli and U.S.-Israeli relations will never be the same again. We're back to where we were 70 years ago. Everyone's going to have a close look at each other and wonder what's in it for each other. And of course, the American Jewish community, those who are politically active, don't know what to do next, because Netanyahu has let them down. And so this is something that historians like myself one day would write, in a chapter called The Great Departure, because this is the end of the line in terms of the Biden administration and the Netanyahu government.
Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has named Silicon Valley attorney and entrepreneur Nicole Shanahan as his vice presidential pick at a campaign rally on Tuesday. Joe, can you talk to us about Nicole Shanahan? Who is she? What do we need to know about her?
Well, she's if she were a horse in a Melbourne Cup, I'd be putting a lot of money on her. She's about 12-1 to help this guy win the presidency or come very close. Look, she's got the poverty story. Her mother was Chinese, her father was Irish, had trouble holding a job kind of thing. And she went to school and then she made a lot of money. She's a technologist, she's a scientist, she's an entrepreneur, etc. She's worth billions of dollars. She paid for Robert Kennedy's $4 million ad during the Super Bowl, and she's gotten very excited. Now, look, I started watching the launch, which is 3 hours yesterday. I couldn't stop watching, Gabriel. This thing is dynamic. She's going after the people who poison American children with their lousy food. She's going after the health industry that doesn't do much for them. She's going after the big pharma that doesn't do anything for anybody. I mean, she's gone after corruption. I mean, this Kennedy campaign is a real sleeper. And I know now why the Democrats and Republicans tried to kill it. He represents, or this guy's presidential run represents about 24% of the American people who vote. That would make him the largest political party in America. Now, what your viewers probably don't know is, even if we let's get past the idea of spoiling the election for Biden or Trump. I think, and I like to predict here that I think we got a real possibility here, or probability, that we may have to go to the House of Representatives. I think there's enough strength behind Nicole Shanahan and Robert Kennedy Jr. to probably block Biden or Trump from getting enough votes in the Electoral College. Now, the Electoral College has 580 votes. You need 270 to become president of the United States. If you don't get it, then it goes to the House of Representatives, and they vote in the top 3 people. Then after that, if they can't get a decision, the president becomes a caretaker till January, and then I think they could vote for anybody they want. So this has happened in American life before, where elections have been thrown into it. And look, this is really about the intelligence of the American people. I studied the crowd at this launch. They're young and they're old, they're black and they're white. They're Indians, American Indians, Indians from India, and they got everybody is represented there, as a matter of fact. And these are people who are disgusted with what's happening in American life, and they're interested in renewing the soil and restoring faith in American government. These people are typical of what we call the progressives at the turn of the 19th, early 20th century. That is, these are people who are trying to return government to the people. They see corporate greed and political corruption as at the center of American life right now. And I swear I can't disagree with them about what they're going after. These are kind of the very sophisticated version of what Bernie Sanders was trying to do. And look, they're not going to take any votes away from the Republicans. They're going to take votes away from the Democrats. Robert Kennedy Jr., was a Democrat. His whole family was a Democrat. He said 5 members of his family actually work for Biden today. And of course, people are trying to say he's kind of a crazy man. He's not crazy at all. He's been fighting the establishment all of his life, and I followed Robert Kennedy Jr.'s career, Robert Kennedy's father's career, very closely when I was a young man in college, and we were all politically active. This guy's the real deal, and he's coming after them. And you know what? I tell you what, don't underestimate the American public. I mean, they may look like they're going along with the circus, but they may surprise you on that second Tuesday in November.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see. But I also just want to ask you, what impact do you think Nicole Shanahan is going to have? Is it really going to shake up this election?
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, when you have a good look at her, she's 38 years old. She's quite earnest. She puts her money where her heart is, as a matter of fact. She actually produced that movie, Common Ground, Kiss the Ground, about renewing American soil and that kind of thing. It's a good indicator of what she's doing. But look, she's more effective. I'm not going to say she's smarter than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is pretty smart, but she doesn't have I think the nous to go much further than that. But this woman is a technologist. She knows how to go from A to B and get things done. And she's a performer. You know, she gets in front of that stage. And let's face it, American television, like American politics, like Australian politics today, it's about, you know, whether you're telegenic. If you can't perform on a television screen, you're going to look pretty bad and do pretty poorly. And I tell you what, the screen loves her. She's the real deal. And I tell you what, people who estimated these folks are in for a big surprise.
Okay, Professor Joseph Siracusa, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Really appreciate getting your insights and analysis as always.
Okay, thank you.